May 2026. Jeff Bezos arrives at the Metropolitan Museum of Art as the co-chair of the Met Gala, the most exclusive fashion event on the planet. He is not expecting applause. He is not expecting gratitude. He is not expecting the kind of deference that billionaires have come to take for granted. But he is also not expecting what actually happens. Protesters line the streets of Manhattan. Thousands of them. Union workers, climate activists, former Amazon employees. They chant. They wave signs. They scream slogans that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago. Bezos must go. Pay your workers. Stop destroying the planet. The man who was once hailed as the greatest innovator of his generation, the visionary who reinvented retail, who made cloud computing ubiquitous, who is literally building spaceships to take humanity to the stars, has become the face of everything that is wrong with capitalism. How did this happen? How did the genius become the villain? How did the hero become the monster? This is not a simple story of greed. It is not a simple story of corporate excess. It is a story about the shifting boundaries of power in the 21st century. It is a story about what happens when the world's richest man tries to define the future, only to discover that the present has already turned against him. Subscribe to Auto Archives right now. Over the next 5,000 words, I am going to show you how Jeff Bezos went from innovator to pariah, how his trillion-dollar artificial intelligence ambitions collided with the very real anger of the people he claims to serve, and what this means for the future of the global tech elite. You do not want to miss this. The problem with Jeff Bezos is not that he lacks vision. The problem is that he has too much of it. While the rest of the world is still debating whether artificial intelligence will steal our jobs or cure our diseases, Bezos is already building the infrastructure for the next industrial revolution. His weapon of choice is Project Prometheus, a $100 billion artificial intelligence investment fund. $100 billion. That is not a rounding error. That is more than the gross domestic product of many small countries. It is more than the market capitalization of most Fortune 500 companies. It is the largest single bet on artificial intelligence in the history of the world. But here's the twist. Bezos is not interested in the kind of artificial intelligence that writes poetry or generates cat videos. He is not interested in the chatbots and the image generators and the large language models that have captured the public imagination. He is interested in something far more ambitious. He wants to use artificial intelligence to create digital twins of the physical world. Factories, warehouses, logistics networks, transportation systems, entire industrial ecosystems. He wants to build a parallel digital reality where every machine, every process, every supply chain is simulated in real time, optimized by algorithms, and controlled by software. He wants to merge the digital and the physical. He wants to make the industrial economy as efficient, as flexible, as responsive as the internet. This is not just an investment. This is a revolution. And Bezos is not just a participant. He wants to be the architect. He wants to own the operating system for the physical world. Project Prometheus is the vehicle. Amazon Web Services, his cloud computing empire, is the foundation. Blue Origin, his space company, is the frontier. And the goal is nothing less than the complete integration of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, space infrastructure, and industrial manufacturing into a single, seamless, Bezos-controlled ecosystem. The logic is impeccable. The execution is ambitious. The scale is staggering. But the politics are a disaster. Because while Bezos is dreaming of digital twins and orbital factories, the people who actually work in the industries he wants to transform are losing their jobs, losing their benefits, and losing their patience. They do not see a visionary. They see a man who made billions from their labor and now wants to replace them with algorithms. They see a man who owns 3 superyachts while Amazon warehouse workers pee in bottles. They see a man who is spending $100 billion to reshape the world without asking anyone's permission. And they are angry. Do you think Bezos using artificial intelligence to reshape traditional manufacturing is an efficiency revolution, or just another round of monopolistic capital expansion? Let me know your take in the comments. Because the answer to that question will determine how you see the next decade of technological change. The Met Gala is supposed to be a celebration of fashion, art, and culture. The richest and most famous people on the planet gather on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, dressed in absurdly expensive costumes, photographed by armies of paparazzi, and celebrated by the media as the pinnacles of human achievement. It is a ritual. It is a fantasy. It is a way for the elite to remind themselves that they are not like everyone else. And in 2026, Jeff Bezos was the co-chair, the highest honor the fashion world can bestow, the ultimate validation of his status as a cultural icon. But the protesters did not care about his status. They did not care about his invitation. They did not care about his money. They saw the Met Gala as a stage, and they were determined to disrupt the performance. The Bezos Ball, as the protesters called it, became the epicenter of a firestorm. Union workers who had spent years fighting Amazon's labor practices saw Bezos in his tuxedo and felt the sting of every unpaid hour, every denied break, every ignored complaint. Climate activists who had tracked Amazon's carbon footprint saw Bezos in his limousine and felt the heat of every warehouse, every delivery truck, every data center. Housing advocates who had watched Bezos buy up ever larger mansions and ever more expensive properties saw Bezos on the red carpet and felt the cold reality of a city where the rich get richer and everyone else struggles to pay rent. The anger was not about the Met Gala. The anger was about everything the Met Gala represented, the vast, yawning chasm between the ultra-wealthy and everyone else. The sense that the rules that apply to ordinary people do not apply to billionaires. The feeling that the system is rigged, and that the people who rigged it are celebrating on television while the rest of us watch. Bezos did not create this anger, but he has become its most visible target. His superyachts, his mansions, his rocket ships, his parties, his face on every magazine cover, his name on every list of the richest people on Earth. He is the symbol, and symbols are easy to hate. This is the great irony of Jeff Bezos' career. The same ambition that made him rich has also made him a target. The same drive that built Amazon has also built a movement of people who want to tear him down. The same vision that created Blue Origin and Project Prometheus has also created a public that sees him not as a visionary, but as a villain. Do top-tier billionaires still have the freedom to sponsor culture, or should every dollar they spend be placed under a moral microscope? Is this commercial freedom, or is it ethical hostage-taking? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Now let me connect this story to a theme we have explored before. In our previous episode, we discussed how Donald Trump used a delegation of chief executive officers to stabilize U.S.-China relations. Elon Musk was there. Tim Cook was there. The leaders of the world's most powerful corporations were deployed as geopolitical assets, leveraging their business interests to create a commercial firebreak against conflict. That is one model of billionaire power. The model where the ultra-wealthy work within the existing system, using their influence to shape outcomes, but ultimately deferring to the authority of nation-states. Jeff Bezos represents a different model, a more radical model. A model where the billionaire does not work with the state, but around it. Where the billionaire builds his own infrastructure, his own capabilities, his own systems of power. Consider Project Sunrise. Bezos planned to launch a constellation of thousands of satellites, providing global internet coverage from low Earth orbit. This is not just a business. It is a telecommunications network that rivals the capabilities of many national governments. Who controls the internet in a country where Bezos owns the satellites? Who enforces the laws when the infrastructure is privately owned? Who decides what content is allowed, what data is collected, what surveillance is permitted? Consider Blue Origin. Bezos' space company is not just a vanity project. It is a bet on the industrialization of space. Bezos believes that the future of heavy industry lies beyond the Earth's atmosphere, in the zero-gravity environment of orbit, on the surface of the moon, in the asteroid belt. And he is spending billions to make that future a reality. But who governs space? Who decides which companies get which orbital slots? Who mediates disputes between private space companies and national space agencies? Who enforces environmental regulations when the environment is the entire solar system? In the next decade, billionaires like Bezos, with their own satellite networks and artificial intelligence capabilities and space infrastructure, will increasingly challenge the sovereignty of nation-states. They will not do it by force. They will do it by simply being more capable, more agile, more innovative than the governments that are supposed to regulate them. They will build the future, and the rest of us will live in it. The question is whether we will have any say in how it is built. Let me return to the central contradiction of Jeff Bezos' career. He is trying to define the future with a $100 billion artificial intelligence fund, but he cannot find consensus with the public in the present. He has mastered the technology of tomorrow, but he may be losing the ability to understand the people of today. His vision is breathtaking. His execution is flawless. His resources are limitless. And none of it matters if he cannot bring the public along with him. The protests at the Met Gala were not a one-time event. They were a warning, a signal that the public is watching, that the public is angry, that the public is organizing. The same social media platforms that Bezos helped to build are now being used to coordinate boycotts of Amazon. The same algorithms that drive e-commerce are now being used to expose labor abuses in Amazon warehouses. The same connectivity that made Bezos rich is now being used to hold him accountable. The hunter has become the hunted. The innovator has become the target. The genius has become the villain. If Blue Origin's funding dries up, if Project Prometheus stumbles, if the public pressure becomes too intense, can Bezos survive this unprecedented wave of condemnation? The answer is not clear. He is still the richest man in the world. He still owns Amazon. He still controls a vast empire of technology and logistics and infrastructure. But money does not buy love. Power does not buy respect. And ambition does not buy forgiveness. Bezos may win the future and lose the present. He may build the world of tomorrow and find himself alone in it. The story of Jeff Bezos is not just a story about one man. It is a story about the changing nature of power in the 21st century. Bezos represents something new. Something unprecedented, a concentration of economic, technological, and cultural influence that rivals that of many nation-states. He is not just a businessman. He is a force of nature. And like all forces of nature, he is both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The protesters on the streets of Manhattan were not wrong to be angry. The workers in Amazon warehouses were not wrong to demand better conditions. The climate activists were not wrong to point out the environmental cost of Bezos' empire. But Bezos was also not wrong to dream, not wrong to invest, not wrong to build. The tragedy of Jeff Bezos is not that he is evil. It is that he is operating in a system that has not yet figured out how to balance the power of individuals against the rights of societies. A system that celebrates innovation but struggles with its consequences. A system that rewards ambition but punishes its excesses. Bezos may yet find a way through this dilemma. He may learn to listen. He may learn to share. He may learn that power without legitimacy is unsustainable. Or he may double down, build his walls, launch his rockets, and retreat into a future where he no longer needs the approval of the public. Either way, his story is a warning. A warning to every billionaire who thinks that money can buy immunity. A warning to every technologist who thinks that innovation excuses exploitation. A warning to every visionary who forgets that the future belongs to all of us, not just to the people who build it. Subscribe to Auto Archives if you want to keep seeing behind the curtain. The algorithms do not want you to understand how power really works. They want you distracted, entertained, and compliant. But you are better than that. Hit subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Bezos, about billionaires, about the future of capitalism. And I will see you in the next deep dive. This is Auto Archives. We do not build myths. We tear down facades. We show you the bleeding truth. The question is not whether you can handle it. The question is whether you are ready to see it.